Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today on this video, I wanted to go ahead and do an unboxing video. We don't do a ton of these unboxing videos because most of the time, I kind of expect what's in a box. And so I already know what's in there. And so I'm not really surprised. But today we got a box from Core Tackle, my friends over there. And I did not order this, so I'm really excited to see what is in this box and show you guys, because it's news to me as well. And of course, Core Tackle is the company that my buddy Matt Steffen started, as well as Johnny Schultz, and they've done a great job with it. They've really introduced some really cool and interesting terminal tackle designs, and also some jigs too. So let's go ahead and see what's in this little tiny package of fun. Don't cut towards you. That's what my daddy always told me. All right, so what do we got in here? Ooh, looks like we got some new packaging on at least some of this. Okay, I like this. So one of the things that I've been saying for a bit is like, man, your tackle is on point, but we got to change your packaging a little bit. And this looks amazing. I love it. It even shows you how to rig it on the back. So this is the Finesse tush that I've heard a lot about. So I'm really excited about this. So the tush is a swim bait hook that it's a jig head that essentially allows you to have an internally weighted swim bait with any swim bait on the market, any soft swim bait. Let's see if I can get it out of the package here. Already dang hooked myself. All right. So this right here is the Finesse version of the tush. This size is the 2-aught hook and 3/16. And as you can see here, it's got a smaller hook, smaller diameter, so you can use lighter line. You don't have to worry about breaking off on the hook set because the wire diameter is too thick. So essentially, in fact, let me go ahead and get a swim bait to kind of illustrate how you rig the tush. And I'm really excited to see how this looks with a small little Finesse swim bait. All right. So here we go. This is actually, if you guys have been watching my videos for any length of time, you know that my favorite swim bait on Lake Chickamauga is not a giant swim bait. It's not a swim bait that I'm just looking for one big bite a day or something like that. It's this little guy right here. This is the Pearl Blue Glimmer, and that's my favorite color, minnows from Z-Man, all right? And so traditionally I'll fish like a 1/8 ounce or 3/16 ounce, jig head on the head of the bait, okay? But one of the problems is that a lot of the fish that I'm catching really are targeting smaller bait fish than even this, and so I have to cut down the head of the bait to facilitate that extra length that you get with a jig head. But with the tush, I've found, and I've fished the traditional tush quite a bit, with the minnows, but with the tush, I found that you actually don't get any of that extra length, so I can keep it the same. But essentially, you rig it like this. I go kind of like the very top of the nose, as opposed to like going through the center of the nose. Okay, and I go ahead and string it through like normal. And at this point, a lot of times, what I'll do is I'll maybe put a little bit of super glue on there. But also a lot of times the design of the tush really does lock it in pretty good with Elastec without super glue. So I'll fish with it for a little bit, and then once it starts loosening up and maybe it starts pulling back out, that's when I'll start using some super glue. So I usually use the super glue kind of after I'm fishing with it a little bit. But essentially, you're just gonna jam this in here, okay? Works really well with the Elastec because it's not going to tear up the Elastec, but it's also, a little bit hard to get it in there at first. When you're first trying, you just kind of have to finagle it in there. And with the Elastec, you pull from the nose more so than you pull or you push. That makes it a lot easier. So pull from the nose and that's gonna make it in there. So this isn't perfectly rigged. I actually need to back the hook out. I rigged it a little bit too far. It's not perfect. I still got to play with it a little bit, but essentially you got a weighted swim bait, you know, internally weighted swim bait. So you don't have the head adding, you know, extra length to it or looking loppy or unrealistic. And also you get a much more dramatic roll with the tush than you do a traditional jig head. So again, takes a little bit of time to get it right, and the size of the Finesse tush is definitely a little bit different than the traditional tush, but I'm gonna play around with that and get it just right. But super cool jig head for swim bait fishing, and I'm really excited about the Finesse one for your smaller swim baits. All right, so we got a bunch of these. It's pretty awesome. Stoked on all that. More Finesse. All right, so we got the Ozark rig. So new packaging for the Ozark rig as well. I dig it. You know, there's, you know, this right here is a 2/0 version with the 1/8 ounce weight. So the Ozark rig, I've done some videos earlier this year on the Ozark rig. Really versatile way to rig a soft plastic weedless, and it has a crazy horizontal glide, like more so than anything out there on the market. So when you rig a bait, it will, instead of dropping straight down like a Texas rig, it will have a nice glide and spiral down to the bottom. Really triggers a lot of strikes. It's something that I really like to do, especially around like isolated brush and things like that. And some of my favorite baits to fish on this, you know, a lot of people were fishing creature baits with the Ozark rig. I'm not as big on the creature bait trend, but I love throwing a stick bait like a Z-Man Zinkers on the Ozark rig. I think that is actually probably one of the designs that is really meant for the Ozark rig overall. So I'll leave that up to you, the experimentation, but I'm just gonna tell you, a straight tail worm or a stick bait works really, really good. All right, so we got some Ozark rigs. We got some of their swim jig. Their swim jig is pretty special. We'll open this one up. So their swim jig that they created, again, they really love, Matt and Johnny really love to make baits that have that weight dispersed on the shank of the hook, and for a lot of reasons. And with the swim jig, number one, it creates that low profile, you know, overall, you know, facade or silhouette. And so you have a seemingly small swim jig, but it has a lot of weight to it. So it has a substantial amount of weight. This one is a 4/0 hook with a 3/8 ounce weight, but it looks like it's like an 1/8 ounce swim jig. Okay, so, and they also add some of this shiny you know, material in there. I forget, like, not mylar, but it's a shiny you know, strands in there that's really different, you know, than a lot of swim jigs out there. You know, adds that little bit of flash, so I really like that. They've got this wire weed guard, which does work very well. Actually, it's stiff enough to be able to run it through a lot of cover, and it's not going to you know, fail you. So the swim jig overall, really cool swim jig. One thing I've noticed with this bait versus some of the other more weight forward designs is when I pause it, it kind of tends to want to also glide, just like, you know, the you know, Ozark rig or some of these other you know, jig heads that they make. So it has more of a horizontal glide to it. It actually pauses. It's almost like it suspends for a second, depending on what type of trailer you're using. And so that's very interesting. And I've caught a lot of fish with this swim jig because of that action, I believe. So we got some of those in here, different colors, like this one right here. What color is that? The Guilty Pleasure. Guilty Pleasure. I don't think I've seen that color yet. All right. And we also have some hover rigs. That is a super tiny hover rig. That's like crappie status right there. That is pretty cool. That's a 1/32 with size 4 hook. The hover rig is something that, quite honestly, I have not capitalized on that bite yet. I've still got to learn how to do it, but we're gonna figure it out. But the Ozark rig, or the hover rig, again, is gonna have that horizontal fall to it. And so yeah, really cool. All right, this is the one that I've been waiting for, guys. This is the one that I was hoping would be in this box. I think that's kind of it as far as the diversity in here. Before we get to it, you got like bigger tushes, things like that. But let's get to this one, because this one's really cool. So this is their new Wacky shot hook. And I think it is pretty darn thoughtful as far as the design. So essentially you've got this weedless Wacky rig hook that has a weight attached to it, various sizes. This one right here is the 1/8 ounce with the size 1 hook. So you got this interesting sickle shaped hook, all right? And you've got the weedless weed guard here, you got the weight right here, and you've got this screw lock right here. So this hook is going to be able to lock into your stick bait or whatever you're wacky rigging and really just stay on there. And so that is very interesting. Again, I have not thrown this. I do not know exactly what it does on, with the overall action, and also what it does on the bottom, because with this sort of head, obviously it's designed thoughtfully to be able to use on the bottom too. So I'm interested to see exactly what this hook ends up doing to my wacky rigging overall. So yeah, cool. I'm really excited. Really stoked that they've got the rigging on the back for the Wacky shot, of course. But yeah, really stoked on this package, man. Let's see if there's anything else in here. I think that's pretty much it. Oh boy, that's a big one. That's a biggin. Whoa. 1/2 ounce tush. But yeah, that's pretty much it as far as like the diversity of this box. But man, that was a lot for one little box. So anyways, guys, just wanted to do that unboxing for you. I'm pretty stoked. I was really hoping that when I saw that box on my front doorstep, I was really hoping that they would have the new Finesse tush in there, and also the new Wacky rig hook, because I think that is going to be pretty legit out there, especially in the spring. So the Wacky shot is definitely one I was looking forward to. But anyways, check them out. I'm going to have links in the description below for all the products that I talked about today in this box. But overall, pretty stoked on what they sent. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. I'm going to see you out on the water. Trust the process.